Okay, so what are interest rates? This video will look at explaining what interest rates are and how they vary. So first thing is a little bit of a clip to introduce what interest rates are.
What are interest rates? Presented by WallStreetSurvivor.com. Interest is a fee paid by someone who borrows money to the person he borrows it from, and an interest rate is the amount that borrower pays. Here's Ben. Ben just graduated from high school and was accepted into a top university. Sounds great, right? Only problem, the tuition is too much for him and his parents to bear. So, Ben and his folks head over to the bank to borrow money for school. Ben talks to the banker and gets a loan for $50,000 to pay for his education. But why would the bank do this? Ben's a nice guy and all, but what's their benefit in lending out the money? The answer is interest rates. In exchange for the $50,000 loan, the bank will charge Ben 5% interest each year until the loan is repaid. So each year, Ben will pay the bank $2,500 in interest. Interest is almost like paying rent on the money you're borrowing. Here's another scenario. Imagine Ben has saved up $10,000 that he keeps in a savings account at the bank. By keeping his cash there, he is actually lending his money to the bank. The bank can then use this money for investments or to lend to other people. Just like the bank charged Ben an interest rate for the money he borrowed for university, the bank pays Ben an interest rate in exchange for keeping his money with them. The longer Ben keeps his money in his savings account, the more interest he will earn. In fact, even his interest will gain interest. This is known as compound interest. For example, if interest rates are 5%, in year 1, Ben will earn $500 on his $10,000 principal. In year 2, Ben's account grows to $10,500 and he will earn $525 in interest. In the third year, Ben's account continues to grow exponentially to $11,025 and he will earn $551.25 in interest. As long as Ben keeps his money in the bank, his principal will continue growing exponentially thanks to compound interest. Most personal finance experts say the concept of compound interest is the most important thing in growing your retirement nest egg. For more on interest rates, retirement, and other personal finance topics, head over to WallStreetSurvivor.com.
So as you can see, interest rates are basically the price that one pays to borrow money, or in terms of the bank, the price that the value that they give, the price that they charge you for them lending you money. Interest rates. So there are different types of interest. So interest on savings and interest on loans. So in this section here on interest on savings, people with spare money, so surplus funds, save their money in a financial institution like a bank. So they put their money away and save it. When they allow their savings to be used by a bank, they need to be getting something in return. The interest rate on the money deposited is the price that these banks must pay to use that money and for you to put that money in their bank. The second type of interest is interest on loans. So people with not enough money or deficit funds need to borrow money from a bank. So when the bank lends them that money, they then demand a price for the use of that money. The interest rate on these loans represents that price. So they charge you for them borrowing you money. So banks or financial institutions, they make a profit by charging a higher rate to borrowers than they pay to depositors. So banks make more money because they charge higher interest rates for them borrowing money to people, lending money to people, than they do charge interest rates for people putting money in the bank. So that's how they get money. So for example, Harry, when he makes interest on savings, he has $100,000 saved in Westpac saving accounts. He earns 3% per annum on his savings. So that's 3% times 1,000 is $30. So Harry earns $30 for saving and therefore lending his money to Westpac. Interest on loans. Bob has borrowed $1,000 from Westpac, so Westpac has given him $1,000 on a short-term loan, and the bank charges 12% per annum on this loan. So 12% times 1,000 is $120. They're charging him $120 for the money that they've lent him. So Bob pays $120 to use Westpac's money. So the bank earns $120 from Bob and paid $30 to Harry. So 100 minus $30 is $90. So the Westpac Bank is making a profit of $90. So you can see why banks make so much money, because they are charging higher interest rates for to lend money than they do for people to borrow to lend them money. So short and long-term interest rates, they are different. So interest rates can be classified as either short-term or long-term. So you can see how, if you have a look here, you can see that it's a sort of a little bit of a poster, and it says invest with HMC and earn up to 9.5% interest per annum. So they're asking you to invest your money into their banks, into their financial institution. So you lend them money. So for 6 months, you get 7.5 per annum. For 12 months, you get 9% per annum. And for 24 months, you get 9.5% per annum. So you can see that the longer that you lend them money, for a longer period that you lend them money, they are giving you more interest back. So they're looking for you to put money into their bank in the long term. On the other hand, you've got MetWest Bank. They've got indicator rates, and it's for somebody personal, and it has some fixed rates. So fixed rates, for 1 year you get 8.45%. For 2 years it's 8.55%, 55%. For 3 years it's 8.95%. For 4 years 9.12%. You can see that it's progressively getting, the interest rates are getting higher for the longer that you have the loan. So the variable rate so this is the fixed rate, so you fix the loan at that amount, or you can have a variable rate, which means that the rate could change depending on the fluctuations in the economy, and the standard variable rate is about 9.37%. Negotiated basic is 8.6% per annum. So fixed and variable rates. So fixed interest rates, the interest rate is set at a fixed amount for the entire term of the loan. So you would know, for example, that you are getting charged 8.95% for the whole term of your loan, no matter what. So the advantages of this, it gives you protection from unexpected interest rate increases. So if the interest rate increases, you're not affected because you fixed your interest rate. And predictable payments, which makes it easier to budget. So you know what's coming and you know how much you need to pay prior to that date coming along, and there's no changes, so you will always know that you pay the same amount. Disadvantages, you can't take advantage of falls in interest rates. So if interest rates fall, you can't really take advantage of that because you've already fixed your loan at that amount. An earlier payout penalty is incurred for clearing the loan before the fixed term expires. So you can't just get out of it if you want to decide to go to a variable interest rate. You do have to pay a penalty to get out of that. Variable interest rates. The interest rate moves up or down over time depending on the term of the loan. So there's no fixed interest rate. It moves and changes depending on how the interest rates are going and how the economy is fluctuating. So advantages. If interest rates fall, your repayments reduce. So you can shorten the term of your loan if you make higher repayments, and additional payments can be made without penalty. The disadvantages are if interest rates increase, your repayments will increase. So you may be forced to increase your payments if you cannot pay the loan back within the term. So you don't get that advantage of knowing what you're going to be paying each week, each month, or whatever it might be. It depends on how the interest rates change. So then we have two kinds of loans that you can get. So you can get a combination loan. With a combination loan, the interest rate is fixed for a period, maybe up to 10 years, and then reverts back to a variable rate. So you might have 10 years and you say, yes, for the first 10 years I want to keep it at this fixed rate, and after those 10 years I want it to revert to a variable rate so that it fluctuates depending on how the economy is going. On the other hand, a split loan is when you maybe, let's say, half of your loan is based on a variable interest rate and the other half of your loan is based on a fixed interest rate. So you know that one half is the interest rates are varied and you don't know what the payments are, depending on how the economy is going. And the other half of the loan, it's predictable. You know that you pay a set amount for that and for the interest rate for that part of the loan. So for example, if you borrow 150,000, you decide to fix 100,000 over 7 years and leave the remaining at a variable rate. Okay, all done.